and welcome to part 2 of our road trip around Westerham and the Weald of Kent. We're in the south of England, in the county of Kent. The full route is around 25 miles or 40 kilometres, and this half is just over 11 miles or 19 kilometres. In part 1 we left the M25 and picked up the A25 before heading to Emmett's Gardens, Chiddingstone and Hever Castle. In this part we pick up the story at Hever Castle before driving across to Edenbridge. Here you can find the national rail links for those who want to cycle this route. We then make our way to Winston Churchill's Chartwell before arriving at Westerham. Now I've got a little confession, but we'll get to that later. We'll complete the journey by heading on to Sundridge. So, did you enjoy your visit to Hever Castle? Well, it's time to hit the road again. Passing St Peter's Church on the left and the Henry VIII pub on the right. Did you check out our recommended accommodation? Don't worry, I'll pop the links in the description below for those and some additional ones for Westerham. As in the last video, I will speed up the action in places, but then I'll slow it down for junctions, like this one where we turn right towards Edenbridge. If you want a copy of this route, I will add a link to our Google My Maps page for the complete trip. Just so you know, this was filmed in mid-March. As spring rolls on, everything will become a little bit more lush. If you want to discover more of this landscape, then I cannot recommend the OS Maps app enough. Access to detailed maps with public right-of-ways at your fingertips. I'll pop a link in the description so you can find out more. So now we hit the town of Edenbridge, and we're turning right at this junction. To head up the high street, you'll want to turn right. But hang on a second, that's not what we did. We followed the signs to the left for free parking. We crossed the River Eden on this new bridge and effectively bypassed the centre of town. After about half a mile, you'll be turning right to loop back onto the high street, again following the signs for the free parking. To our left is the approach for Edenbridge Town Railway Station, so if you want to cycle this route, then this is the ideal start and end point. It's also worth noting that through the high street the speed limit drops to 20 miles per hour. And it's here we're turning left into Croft Lane. It's just a short drive until we turn right into Frankfield and onto the Market Yard car park. And we're here on a Thursday, which means it's market day. Edenbridge's market was established by royal charter from Henry III in 1227, and it can be found here from around 8 AM to 2 PM. Now let's head on to the high street, and we can unearth some of Edenbridge's history. A good place to start would be the Eden Valley Museum, where you can discover more about the town and the wider area. It's free to visit, but we didn't have enough time on our whistle-stop tour. One of the historical facts I discovered was the town grew up around the old Roman road, the London to Lewes Way, and in the Middle Ages it became home to the Weald and iron industry. And there's plenty of historic buildings, such as the 15th century Tanyard House. and other buildings linked to the tanning industry also sprung up about the same time. And it's great to see family-run businesses also thriving in the high street. I love the eclectic mix of shops we were stumbling across. We now reach the bridge over the River Eden, dating from 1836. And here's the River Eden herself. It's water from here that feeds the lake at Hever Castle. As we approach the town from the south, I noticed there are a few more buildings that were worth checking out. So let's go and have a look. The cottages in the centre date from the 16th century, but were embellished in the 18th. Likewise, the old vicarage has a 16th century heart, but later modifications. The old Eden can also trace her roots back to the same period. We're now making our way back through town towards St Peter and St Paul's Church. So what's your thoughts? Does Edenbridge make a worthy stopover? Leave us a comment, we'd love to hear from you. And now we find ourselves at St Peter and St Paul's Church. The earliest fabric of the church dates from the late 11th, early 12th century, but as with many churches of this period, updated and rebuilt over the centuries. And as you can see, we've found a cemetery, so we're off for a wander. So we're back in our car again, and we're off to Chartwell, but we're not following the signposted route. With a left at the end and a right when we hit the high street, we get another chance to take in Edenbridge. Now I know I said we're not following the signposted route, but we are going to be turning right towards Westerham and Chartwell. It'll all make sense in a minute. So here we are, right towards Westerham, and also Edenbridge's other railway station, Edenbridge, open brackets Kent, close brackets. Actually, we won't be passing it, because it's where our route deviates from the signposted one. We'll be turning right here towards Tonbridge and Sevenoaks. Hopefully you're enjoying the trip. Don't forget to give us a like, it really helps. And why not subscribe to follow along on future journeys? The reason for our detour is because you get to see a little more of the countryside. It's also the shorter route too. We now reach the village of Four Elms. We're going to be turning left here, just past the duck pond, following the sign for Chartwell. At this junction we're turning right. There's a brown tourist sign for Chartwell. As I've mentioned, this is a lovely route for cyclists, but remember to give them plenty of room if you're driving. At least 1.5 meters, but more if possible, especially if you're travelling at speed. Once you see the wood fencing on your right, you know you're close. Then the brickwork and the house, but you're not quite there yet. In fact, you're first past the exit to the car park. Carry on and you'll arrive at the entrance on your right. And here is the house that Sir Winston Churchill loved so much, where he relaxed in his drawing room with his wife Lady Clementine. You can see his study where he wrote some of those rousing wartime speeches. We have a complete video of the house and gardens at Chartwell, where you can also meet Jock. I'll pop a link in the corner. It's from here you get some stunning views over the Weald of Kent. Those with an eye for detail may notice something. This was shot in late September. When you visit, don't miss his art studio, another side to the man. I think if you plan to take on this road trip, Chartwell is unmissable. The National Trust have done an amazing job of preserving Winston Churchill's home and telling the story of the family man. I will pop a link to the National Trust website for Chartwell in the description for further information. Back on the route again and turning right out of the car park, the next destination is Westerham. At the junction at the end, we're going to be turning right. In under a mile, you will have reached the outskirts of Westerham. At the end of this road, we will have reached the A25. We're going to turn left, but you may want to turn right. I'll show you why in a moment. Opposite us is the National Trust Quebec House. I'm going to drive all the way through Westerham and return to show you the town and the best place to park. Remember, this is the A25 and it does get busy. And now we reach Westerham's village green. Now, I'm not denying Westerham's a town, but it does have a really nice village feel to it. And now confession time. Once we've looped back and I'm parked up, I'm going to show you a snippet of Westerham. Don't worry, I'm going to create a full video of Westerham and you're not going to miss it because you subscribe. So that's all good, right? The problem was time and I didn't want to rush Westerham. So what you have is an amuse-bouche taster of the town. Anyway, back to the driving. So the plan is to drive to the outskirts of town, turn around and head back. I want to show you that parking is challenging, but help is at hand. That in front of us, by the way, is the old forge, dating from sometime in the 16th century. If you wonder where I get all my facts on the history of the buildings, well, it's historicengland.org.uk. I'll pop a link in the description so you can follow that. That on the left is not a public car park. Don't be fooled. Okay, now time to turn around. When we return to Westerham, I'll be giving you plenty more history on this lovely little town. Another don't be fooled. The General Wharf on our left is not a pub. It used to be, but not anymore. And now a little bit of peace from me, so you can enjoy Westerham. And now as we approach Quebec House, here's the tip for parking. Just past here on the left hand side is the town's car park. Please check, but at the time of recording the first 3 hours were free of charge. There are costs if you want to stay longer, but the rates are reasonable. Now let's take a look at our glimpse of Westerham, starting with a statue to Sir Winston Churchill on the village green, and the statue to Major General James Wolfe. And this is Westerham on a beautiful day in October. Once again, it has a huge array of independent shops offering you something different, as well as a choice of different places to be fed and watered. I will pop some links to places you may want to stay in the description for you to check out. If you're in town, do try to check out Quebec House, the childhood home of James Wolfe. I'll include a link in the description to the National Trust website, and I'll cover the story in more detail in our full video. He's an interesting fellow who keeps appearing in our history. Anyway, time to complete this road trip. And now turning left out of the public car park, we're now heading east along the A25. There's a couple more places I want to show you en route, and then I'm going to release you onto the M25. The first of those is the village of Brasted. Now I can call this village green on our left. And now we reach Sundridge. This is the half of the village that we didn't see in part 1 of this road trip. And if we were to turn right at this junction, we'd start the loop again, with Emmett's Gardens just up the road. But for us, we continue our journey towards the M25. And I think now's as good a time as any to say our farewells. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. Stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.